Hello, trading has closed on the 13th of January 2025. As always, we'll begin with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. Please remember, this is my plan. My plan can change. My plan can be wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Look today for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. We had a target. Well, this is just to review what we said. Tomorrow has the early high. We said bears needed to maintain a gap under recent lows to continue the decline. We had support at just under 57.90 cash, and if it held, we could have a bounce. I said I was not going to cut it too much slack under 57.90. I would give it maybe 3 points or so. We actually went under 57.90 by over 16 points. That's too much for me. So we're going to call this a gap sharply in the undesired direction, and the call's killed before the open, and there's no call. And the fact that we recovered doesn't mean anything because there's no call. I get no credit. During the day and the morning, we had an ultimate buy and ultimate sell signal in the same pattern. Typically when that happens, we go higher, we go lower, and when lunchtime comes around, we're in the middle of these yellow lines. In the afternoon, MEJT had a number of calls that moves were false would retrace. That's already played out. I know futures are up as I'm recording this quite a bit, but that's a wall into the close. We don't have to gap down tomorrow, but futures up or not, a high percentage of these are going to gap down under the origin of this wall. We have an economic report coming out, and I don't find the response to those reports particularly predictable, so I wouldn't risk any money on the response overnight. That's just me. But this is not a healthy pattern unless we continue it tomorrow. If we don't continue it and we gap under this, that's just a false move. That's a bit late for serious money to make its move. Well, we gapped down under this low. If we printed a bar completely under this bar, that would be support failing, but we didn't do that. We recovered. So for now, at least, support's held. Now, of course, that could all change tomorrow. We could gap under this low Friday and keep going down, and then support fails. But for right now, the market support's holding. I'm not convinced it's going to hold forever. We had a break of this line, but it didn't stick. Don't forget, these head and shoulders don't have to be reversal formations. They can also be consolidations. Well, this was the wave count I had. Here's my target. That's undercutting it by too much for me. Now, you don't have to have good fib ratios at the low, but if you don't, I think it's wise policy to consider the fact that that's probably not the end of the decline. Doesn't mean we have to drop tomorrow, but usually if you're going to hit a meaningful low, you're going to have some good fibs. You don't have to, but that's what usually happens. So I don't know what will happen tomorrow when this report comes out, but for me, that's not going to make a low which sticks, and I think at some point we're going to undercut it. That doesn't say anything about what happens first. Well, tomorrow's pattern has a really high regardless of where we open. The producer price index report comes out before the open Tuesday. CPI comes out before the open on Wednesday. These can be meaningful reports. I don't try to predict the response to them. I just can't do it with enough accuracy. We undercut my 57.90 target, so I can't come up with accounts saying the decline's over. Breadth deteriorated further despite the reversal into positive territory and our recovery over prior lows. Despite futures being up as I write this, the wall into the close frequently, not always, frequently is followed by gapping down tomorrow. None of this prevents the rally from continuing tomorrow, so I don't have a specific call for tomorrow. But eventually, I think today's low is going to fall. This is one of the rare times I'm just not going to make a call for tomorrow. The only call I'm going to make is this decline's not over, and eventually this low is going to fall, and I'm still looking for places to go short. That doesn't mean we can't continue, because we had a rejection of this break to new lows. But this, so far, at least after rallying all day, recovered the lows, didn't recover any of these highs. And for me, it's just backing and filling under the breakdown until we recover some of these highs, which hasn't happened yet. So it's the pattern tomorrow with the early high, major economic report coming out. I don't think the decline's over, but as far as tomorrow is concerned, I can't really say if we close up or down, and that's today's call.